For the optimistic cynic, shit. Ho got a hell of a grip. It's never a problem till niggas is ballin' and bitches.
If they apologise and beg, I'll leave the division. I won't terrorise them anymore.
You know what's the real fight? What's the real money fight? It's me, not these clowns that you already punked at the press conference.
2015 was my year. 2016 is also my year. Every year is my fucking year.
I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
I look forward to August 20th, where I will come in correct, prepared, sharp, and I will take this man out.
Yeah, I'm just gonna kill or be killed. That's what I'm coming with.
Again, nobody can take that left-hand shot.
He's like a little solo gangster from the hood. But at the same time, he coaches kids jiu-jitsu on a Sunday morning.
The whole of America can hate me. I only need one American to love me, and that's Mr. Benjamin Franklin.
What's going on, everybody? My name's Hajilicious, and welcome to my new prediction series. Today I'm doing UFC 202, which is coming up on August 20th. It's the highly anticipated rematch between Stockton's Nate Diaz and the notorious Conor McGregor. I'm not going to review the whole fight card. I'm going to review the three fights that I see the most interest in. Obviously, Conor versus Nate. But I'm also going to be doing Rick the Horror Story versus Donald Cowboy Cerrone and Anthony Rumble Johnson versus Glover Teixeira. The gameplay you're going to be watching is just from UFC 2. Just a little computer fight between Nate and Conor. But let's get right into this. Our first fight I'm going to be working with, like I said, is Rick Story and Donald Cerrone. I'll start with Rick Story. Rick Story is a 31-year-old wrestler boxer out of Glendale, Arizona. He's currently fighting for Team MMA Labs. Rick Story holds a professional mixed martial arts record of 19 wins, 8 losses. He's got 4 wins coming by knockout, 4 by submission, 11 by decision. Of his 8 losses, he has 1 by submission, 7 by decision. He's coming off a couple good wins here. He just picked up a win against Tarek Safadine, a unanimous decision, and then what I kind of found was an impressive win against Gunnar Nelson in a split decision. I'm personally a big fan of Gunnar Nelson. I was a huge fan of his fight against Damian Maia. Those guys were, that was just a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu clinic. Like, that wasn't even a UFC fight. That was just nothing but Jiu-Jitsu. This fight, though, against Cowboy's one of those fighters that, he comes to scrap. This guy is going to be, pushing a pace all fucking fight long. What I think Rick really needs to do here to get a win against Cowboys, he's going to have to grind it out for a decision. I don't think he's going to be able to finish Cowboy. I think Cowboy's a little too slick with his submissions, and I think he's not going to be able to hang with him on his stand-up either. So, like, if Rick's going to come in here and get a win, I think it's going to be by a split decision. You know, that's just about how that's going to go. On the other side, we got Donald Cowboy Cerrone, 32-year-old, well-rounded fighter. I mean, this guy, kickboxer, Muay Thai, BJJ, boxing, wrestling. The guy does it fucking all. He's currently fighting for Team Jackson Submission Fighting under the legendary head coach Greg Jackson. He's a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and a black belt in Gato Jutsu. That's Greg Jackson's style of fighting he's made, so take that with what it is. Cowboy holds a 30-win, 7-loss record. He's got 6 wins coming by knockout, 16 by submission, 8 by decision. Of his 7 losses, he has 2 by knockout, 1 by submission, and 4 decisions. He also holds a professional kickboxing record of 28 wins, 0 losses, and a draw, with an astonishing 18 knockouts. Cowboy just recently came off a win against Patrick Cote, TKO punches in round 3. He also had a win against Alex Oliveira, submission triangle in round 1. Cowboy's one of those guys, and there's kind of a running joke with him in the UFC, and it's not like a funny joke, but this guy, if he could sign a 12-fight, 12-month contract, he would. I can't think of another fighter that I would put money on short notice, more than Cowboy. This guy is a certified fucking badass. He lives by the name Cowboy. He is a fucking cowboy. This guy just wants to come in and fight. And this fight, I think this is going to be an easy win for Cowboy. That's where, if I had to pick this fight, my money's on Cowboy. And I think he's going to win by submission. He hasn't really, put a whole bunch of, minus that, triangle on Alex Oliveira, I haven't really seen him put the fucking, hammer on somebody on the ground. Submission, TKO punches I could see from the ground. I think this fight's going to go a little long. I think it's going to go to round 3. I wouldn't be surprised by that at all. Cowboy's like one of those guys, if he can finish you in the first round, he will. But, don't be surprised if he drags us into 3 rounds and, beats Rick Story's ass somewhere in round 3. The next fight I got, though, is a fight people have been waiting for. I want to say this was supposed to be on 196. I know there was an injury that had this fight postponed, but we got Anthony Rumble Johnson versus Glover Teixeira. Start here with Rumble. Rumble, he's a kickboxer, a wrestler. He was 2004 junior national wrestling champion. He holds a mixed martial arts record of 21 wins, 5 losses, 15 wins coming by knockout and 6 by decision. Of his 5 losses, he had 1 knockout and 4 by submission. He recently just dusted Ryan Bader, first round, minute 26 KO punches, and that was after, he leveled Jimmy Manua with a knockout punch in the second round. Rumble Johnson's one of those guys. He's currently training with Team Black Zillions. I want to say he's fighting at Baton Rouge right now. He's one of those fighters that just, he's a hard hitter. He's gonna push the pace early, and against somebody like Glover Teixeira, I think he could have success knocking Glover out in the first round. But Glover's one of those guys that I see him, come alive. Glover can come alive early, but I just don't see it in this fight. Glover's 36 years old. Rumble's 32. I think Anthony's gonna have to come in here and just starch Glover. He's gonna have to come in and just sleep him in the first round, or Glover's gonna give him a hell of a lot of trouble. Glover's a BJJ boxer, and he's also skilled in Hawaiian Kempo. He's currently fighting for Team Glover Teixeira's own gym. He sparred recently, and this was a cool documentary I saw where this guy's super inspired right now. He got to train in Mike Tyson's gym at Cus Diamantos in Catskills, New York. So this guy, I have a hard time writing fighters off once they cross 35, but for whatever reason in MMA, from about 29 years old to about 35 is when you see these guys start peaking, and Rumble's right in that mix where you have that nice mix of young athleticism and you have that old man strength starting to come in, and I think that's where Rumble's at right now, because he's got incredible fucking speed, strength, and endurance. This guy's a fucking freight train. He's gonna run him over. Glover, if Glover's gonna win this fight, it's gonna be ground control. He's gonna have to get Rumble off of his feet and onto the ground. If he wants to win this, it's gonna be late in the rounds. It'll be TKO punches on the ground, something around that line. I don't think he's gonna be able to submit Rumble. I don't see that coming. Both these guys are really knockout artists. Glover right now, he's got a professional. Yeah, Glover's professional record's 25-4. He's got 15 knockouts, 7 submissions, and 3 decision wins. His 4 losses were 1 KO and 3 decisions. So I would take it. This fight can go either way, man. These guys are fucking bangers. This is gonna be one to watch. If the Diaz McGregor fight flops, this is gonna be the fight to watch, because these guys, there's a good chance somebody might go to sleep in the first round. Who knows? So here, Glover, because Glover did just beat Rashad. Rashad Evans, I mean, one of my favorites. That guy is fucking great. But I'm not sure if, Rashad's still on top of his game. Rashad's getting old. He also had but TKO and over Patrick Cummins. Again, nothing to, jump up and down about, but it is what it is. In this fight, I'm taking Rumble in the first round. I think he's going to starch Glover. I like Glover Teixeira, but I don't feel it here. I just don't. I would have to lose a bet or something here to put money on Glover. It's the fight game. Anything can happen, but my money's round 1. Glover. Round 1's going to be Rumble Johnson. This is the fight I've been waiting for a while. I was completely satisfied with their first matchup. I can't believe the second matchup has come so quickly for these two. But we got the notorious Conor McGregor versus Stockton's own Nate Diaz. This is the fight. This is one of those fan favorite fights. This might not be for true MMA fans that might be able to see through the the rose colored glasses some of their MMA fans have been looking through. This fight, I don't know even why it's happening, honestly, for 2 reasons. Before I even break down where these guys are at right now, I have a huge problem with Conor fighting 170 again immediately, because I believe he should have to go defend 145 a little sooner than he already has. The fact that it's already that he is not injured, fought and starched Jose Aldo in 13 seconds, and then goes on this rampage where he wants to fight, everybody at 155 and 170, that's fine. That's cool, but you're the 145 champ. It's kind of bullshit that they've already have an interim fight. That there's, Aldo and Edgar have already fought. Aldo's the interim champion again. And now we're going to have a belt unification fight, which I think is completely unnecessary. I think if anybody should have deserved an instant rematch, it should have been Conor getting a second shot at Nate. It should have been Aldo getting a second shot at Conor, for fuck's sake. It's like that guy only, starched everybody in the WEC and everybody in the UFC for damn near a decade. I get that they, instant rematches don't happen all the time, and that's why I was kind of surprised that Conor and Nate, these guys come out and they get an instant rematch. I know it's a giant money fight, and that's why it's getting the rematch. But all right, let's get into this breakdown here. We got Conor McGregor. He's 28-year-old striker. This guy is fucking lethal. One of the best strikers at 145 ever. This guy, his left hand is death. His counter punch is fantastic. This guy's movement is unorthodox, and it's something a lot of fighters don't know how to deal with. You put all that on top of this guy's, the charismatic nature of this guy, just the way he carries himself and it prevents himself. Conor McGregor is a motherfucker. This is not anybody you want to sleep in. Currently, he's training with John Kavanagh at SBG Ireland. He's currently a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu brown belt under John Kavanagh. Conor holds a 19-win, 3-loss record. 17 wins coming by knockout, 1 submission victory, and 1 decision victory. Of his 3 losses, they're all by submission. Last 2 fights, obviously, he lost to Nate Diaz in the second round by that rear naked choke. And then the fight before that was the incredible 13-second starching of Jose Aldo. Conor in this fight, and I've seen a lot of stuff with Conor that really bugs me. Like, all the videos and the training videos that come out, I know he's not going to show everything he's doing, but it's all stand-up. It's all fucking stand-up. He's working on his movement boxing, and he's working, you know, on just his stand-up game, which is not ever what I thought Conor was really, you know, it wasn't his issue. Conor's issue was on the ground. Like, when he fought Nate the first time, he threw everything in the kitchen sink at Nate's dome, and Nate stood there, threw 2 birds up, smiled, and kept swinging. So that wasn't his issue. Once he got onto the ground, Nate Diaz ragdolled him. I always thought that was, you know, the biggest issue in this fight. Is, you know, if Conor wants to win this, you know, he's got the puncher's chance. You know, that's what he's gonna ride on. I think he's gonna go back in there again, trying to knock him out in the first or second round, which I'm not sure if he's gonna get done. If Conor was gonna win this, if I had to pick a Conor victory, it would be in the second round knockout, like he's calling right now. I'm not sure if he's gonna have it though. He's gonna have to do a lot better job on maintaining his energy and not gassing like he did, because in the first round he fucking threw everything at Nate. And when I mean everything, it was literally, you know, the amount of effort and power that he put into the punches that hit Nate Diaz in the face with was like, you know, the same amount of power that he used to knock out the last 8 opponents. Like, it was just different. Fighting at 170 for Conor, I think, is an issue. Because at 170, these guys are bigger. Nate's walking around right now at 200 fucking pounds. That's a big fucking guy. You know, these aren't, you know, guys at 145. And going back to the 145 thing for a second, I've thought, and this is because USADA came in and they've, you know, Brazilian champions have been dropping like flies since USADA came in and did their whole drug testing thing. The biggest issue I've seen with Conor and a lot of other fighters is after you do a weigh-in now and you cut weight, you're not allowed to rehydrate using IV bags. And that can pose an issue to some fighters like Conor, who drop down to this Skeletor crackhead size, you know, weight. Like, if you go look at the weigh-ins from Diaz McGregor 1, and, you know, or not Diaz McGregor 1, from Aldo McGregor, he looked like fucking death. Like, he literally looked like he was dying. Like, that was, you know, something shocking. So I don't know if he's been avoiding the 145 because of this weight cut, because that weight cut was hard on him. And I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do that again with the current IV rules. So that, I mean, that might be a way he's kind of stepping away from the 145 game like he is. But at 170, I just think the fighters are bigger. They're bigger. I mean, they can take a little bit better of a punch. I'm not saying that Nate's impervious to being knocked out, but let's be honest here with Nate Diaz. He is upper average, you know, he's not elite in the 170 division, but he's not Robbie Lawler. He's not Tyrone Woodley. You know, I just don't see him as that kind of person. And that's why I thought it was ludicrous when Conor started calling out Robbie. It's like that fucking awesome clip where he was, you know, Robbie kind of takes a shot at Nate, and he's like, you know, I'm not going to take Conor's neck, I'm going to take his soul. Like, that was fucking great, because that's what's going to happen. I think he bit off a little more than he can chew. Personally, I think Conor's meant to fight at 155, but 155's got some motherfuckers down there too. It's like, what do you think Eddie Alvarez is going to do to him, or, you know, RDA, or any of these guys down there? They're just a little bigger, and I think that's his biggest advantage at 145 is he's a fucking giant. If he can get to 145, he's bigger, stronger, and faster than everybody down there, and that's where, you know, he made his living. So on the other side of this, we got Nate Diaz, 31-year-old Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He's a first-degree black belt under Cesar Gracie, currently training for Cesar Gracie. Nate Diaz, he holds a 19-win, 10-loss record. He's got 4 wins coming by knockout, 12 by submission, 3 by decision. Of his 10 losses, he's got 1 by knockout, 1 by submission, 8 by decision. Obviously, his last 2 fights, he won that last fight in the second round with a rear naked choke on Conor. And then he also beat Michael Johnson by a unanimous decision. That was a hell of a fight, too. Nate Diaz, I fucking love Nate Diaz, personally. I think that guy is fucking awesome. And totally underrated. Like I said, he's not like fucking Tyrone Woodley or, you know, Robbie Lawler. I don't think he's just that there yet. I'm not sure if he'll ever get there, but people underestimate Nate because they see him cussing and swearing, throwing the fingers up, flexing, stalked and slapping people during fights. And, they kind of look at that and they take away from what this guy actually is. He's a phenomenal boxer and an even better wrestler. And that's what a lot of people don't fucking realize when Nate Diaz and coming into this fight. There was a lot of, Conor McGregor fans who were MMA fans just because of Conor, and they weren't really, they didn't know who Nate Diaz was because they didn't hear a lot about him. They just see those, funny videos of him shit-talking people, seeing him and his brother do their in-ring antics like they do. What are you going to do with that? Like, that gets inside people's heads when you fuck with them. But then on one note, people kind of, think that he's just a chump and he's doing that, but it's like, this guy's a fucking problem. When you take all that shit away, you realize Nate Diaz is a fucking problem. And that's what a lot of people realize in that first fight is he can hang with Conor on standing up. I think I would give the edge to Conor when it comes to striking and boxing, but the difference between Conor and Nate standing up is very small. But the difference between Nate and Conor on the ground is fucking huge. And I think that's what's going to happen in this fight. I don't know how bad. I know this fight's been fucking with McGregor. I know he's livid about it. He wants his rematch. He's getting it. He's been obsessing over this. But everything I've seen from him training, it seems like he has the same game plan. Like, he wants to go in there and knock him out. That's his goal. He wants to knock him out. And I think Nate's going to be able to stand in there and take it. If Nate wants to win this, I think if he really wants to go in there and just win it, he'll do what he did again and wrestle him and choke him out, grab a neck, grab an arm, grab a leg, something like that. I have a sinking suspicion this one goes to decision. I don't know why, but like, everything tells me this fight's just going to be a fucking brawl. Like, these guys just want to come in and beat the shit out of each other. And I don't think Nate's going to take an arm or a leg or a neck. I think he's just going to want to beat Conor's ass for 3 rounds. I think he literally just wants to, if he knocks him out, he knocks him out. That's fine. But I think he just literally wants to beat this guy's ass. Like, these dudes do not fucking like each other. You're talking about, the pre-hype for this fucking fight has been fantastic. Like, you're talking about 2 of the best shit talkers in the game. And these guys like to come in and fight. Like, Nate's one of those guys that, second the blood starts flowing, he got blood going down his face, that dude hits another gear and he just goes straight fucking savage mode. He's a fighter. Like, that guy in every sense of the word is a fighter. And I expect him to come in and to do just that. He's going to come in and fight. So, my money on this one, if I had to pick it, is going to be on Nate Diaz. I think it's going to go to decision. I mean, if Conor gets knocked out, or if even Nate gets knocked out, I will not be in the least surprised. But my money right now is on Nate Diaz for this fight. That's my prediction for this one. That's going to be, so for this fight card right now, for these 3 fights, I'm going to pick Nate Diaz, Anthony Rumble Johnson, and Donald Cerrone for the victory here. So that's pretty much it for this little prediction series. I'm going to do more of these later on. I'm probably going to do all the UFC main cards when they come up, because there's been some good fights on there, and I like predicting fights. Also, football season's coming up too. I'll probably do predictions for my Oakland Raiders. But that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like, comment, subscribe. Also, as always, go fuck yourselves. Have a good night.